Why do we as women constantly second guess our emotions? We constantly sit to ourselves and think, should I have felt that way? Was that correct? Should I have reacted that way? We constantly are double guessing ourselves, and we need to stop doing that. Let's discuss why we do that and the reasons why we should stop. Hello, my name is April, and welcome to my channel, Lena's Pearls. I started this channel because as a 43-year-old woman, married 15 years with 4 children, grown now, 25 to 19, we are in a blended family. I've been on my own since I was about 16 years old, and I just know, as the saying goes, a little bit about a lot, but I don't know everything. Also, I've been blessed with the gift of discernment and empathy. I am constantly asked, I'm constantly the go-to person, I'll say, for women in my life. And many women that have just only known me for maybe from a few minutes to a few months. And they have ranged in ages from old enough to be my mother and young enough to be my daughter and so forth and so on. I just, as my daughters will say, have a knack for seeing things as they are, making sense of many things that we as women face and challenges that we face. And yes, my daughters actually do seek me out for advice and take it, which is surprising. And I just have that way of, I'm not always, I don't like to brag about being right all the time, but I just have that real way, that real direct way of telling it like it is, seeing things as they are, and helping others to find their truth as well. So that's a little bit about me, just so you know, who is this woman talking to you? Let's get into the subject. Stop doubting your emotions. Why do we as women constantly second guess our emotions, our feelings, how something made us feel? It is a constant. I am always talking to different women about that. And myself too, I sometimes come to that question in my mind about, darn, should I have felt that way, or why is this making me feel that way? And there's nothing wrong with self-evaluation and taking stock. You'll see on this channel, I'm a firm believer in taking stock, taking a step back and looking at things. However, we really do need to stop second guessing our emotions. One of the main reasons that we as women do actually second guess our emotions a lot is because we're taught to put others before ourselves. That is ingrained in us as nurturers of this world. We are always worried about everyone else. And also, we don't always want to come across as abrasive. The biggest thing is being the angry woman. We are constantly in society conditioned to bear down and just take it in. And, everybody else can have their feelings and what have you. And we have to constantly repress and take it in, or worry about others and nurture others. That is just something that, like I said, we're just conditioned to do. Also, we don't like to upset other people. We are, again, it goes back to that nurturing aspect of ourselves. We always want everyone else to have that free platform to say and feel and be, especially with our children and in our relationships. Also, as younger women, we're constantly taught to worry about being too abrasive, or to be too confrontational, or have too much of an attitude, because we're always viewed as having an attitude, unfortunately, when we voice our opinions and voice how we truly feel about something and how something made us feel. And so we worry about, relationships fizzling, or, someone breaking up with us or leaving us, or, and not always just relationships. We worry about our relationship with our children, our co-workers, our bosses, and we're just constantly worried all the time about those things. And it's hard to break those things from when we're in our early 20s and we're constantly worrying about everything. And then when we do get older, we're still holding on to a lot of those worries. One thing that's funny to me about emotions, pun intended, is the only emotion that we never seem to question or second guess is laughter or humor. When something is funny to us, we naturally laugh. We don't sit and think to ourselves, should I have thought that? Should I have felt that way? Should I have laughed about that? We'll go on and tell other people, oh, I was chatting with so-and-so and she said something and we just laughed, and we'll constantly even share that emotion. Now, I'm not talking about laughing at the expense of others and hurting people and all of that. That's a whole nother video. But I am talking about just natural laughter. When something just makes us chuckle or giggle or whatever the case is, that is an emotion that we don't laugh. And the reason why I use that is because I have constantly, and I don't know if I am the owner of this saying, I might be, I'm not sure. I've never heard anyone else say it. I've constantly said it to other people, including my children, is however it made you feel was how it was meant to make you feel. If you got angry, it was something that is just you as a person, and something like that is said to you in that certain way, or by that person, or whatever it was meant to make you angry. If it made you sad, it was meant to make you cry. It was meant to make you sad. If it made you laugh, if it made you disappointed, if it irritated you, mainly though, if it hurt, it was meant to hurt you. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that the person meant to hurt you. People are just living their lives. They're going day to day. We're all just trying to figure out this thing called life. So I don't want you to walk around and be led by your emotions and think everyone's out to get you, because that is not always the case. What I'm basically trying to say is you need to own them. Own your emotions. Own it. Don't second guess it. If you and I are we are all different people. All of us are living different lives. We all come from different walks of lives, different experiences. And because of all of our different upbringings and trials and tribulations in life, there are just certain things that affect each of us differently. What makes me angry may not make the next person angry, and so forth and so on, without getting into the long drawn out list. So, with that, we have to learn our triggers. We do have to learn those things that hurt us, that anger us. Own your emotions, not to be led by them. And I'm not saying walk around angry. The reasons why I'm so determined that we as women, and honestly human beings, need to stop second guessing our emotions and stop doubting them is the following. Number one, you rob yourself. You rob yourself of the correct reaction. You rob yourself of the ability to hone in and learn yourself, and learn that these are your triggers, and learn that these are the types of things that hurt and upset you or irritate you or disappoint you. And therefore, you rob yourself of the correct reaction. Once you stop robbing yourself and you own these things, instead of second guessing and doubting yourself, start to think, why did that upset me specifically? Why did that anger me specifically? What is the root of that? And then you'll start to learn, okay, these are some of the things that this is how I am. And I'm not saying be apologetic for the person you are. We're all uniquely defined. We're all unique in our own way. And this is who we are, take it or leave it. And I'm not saying we can't be improved upon. But taking ownership of your feelings and those things that trigger you does not make you a bad person. It helps you, and it stops robbing you of the ability to learn yourself at a deeper level and a deeper core, and learn some of your own triggers, and tell people, listen, with me, I don't know how you are with other people, what have you, or whatever, but with me, that doesn't work with me. It could be as simple as tone. It could be as simple as a look, a feeling, and your feelings and emotions take themselves on instinctively because of the core of the person that you are. So that's the first thing. When you do not allow yourself to own your feelings and your emotions, you rob yourself of several things. And the number one is learning yourself, and therefore having the correct reaction. Because not everything I'm not saying walk around here mad at the world and ready to pop off at any given moment. I have to work on that myself. Those that know me know I will let you know what it is when it comes to me. And that's just how it is with me. That's just something that I have learned over the years. I know my triggers. I can tell you right now, one of my main things is I don't like tone. I don't like being talked to any kind of way. I don't like to be questioned like I'm not a grown woman on this earth. My husband knows it. My coworkers know it. My children know it. And if you don't know me, you learn it really quickly. Moving on. So we don't want to be led by our emotions. But the second thing is, when you don't own your emotions, you don't learn your triggers, you prevent others from being accountable for how they made you feel. This goes back to, I'm not saying pop off, but this, once you learn and hone these triggers and the depth of what the real core of why certain things bother you, I'm not saying you have to give your whole life story. I'm not saying that if your husband says something to you wrong, or he comes at you a certain way, or his tone or whatever, we'll just keep using tone as an example. If he just, I'll use me for an example. My husband knows my trigger is how you talk to me. I'm not saying my husband has to come in this house and be all, hey, babe, all, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. That is not what I mean. What I mean is, even if it's something that he's not happy about, whatever the case is, he knows that the tone, he's got to watch and check his tone with me. He knows he can't just come talking to me like some dude in the street. He knows that with her, and I'm not saying he's got to be on eggshells, because this does not mean when you hold people accountable that they're walking around you like, oh, and some people do have to be checked like that. And that's a whole nother video as well. Some people do need to be on eggshells, because some people out here are just reckless, and they do need that. But he just knows that, okay, and because he's someone that loves and cares about his wife, and it's not always going to be this type of situation. We can talk about coworkers and friends and associates and all of that. And some people don't even matter if they love you or not. They just know how it is with you. But because he cares about his wife, and he cares about the serenity in this marriage, he knows, and I know his too. I know things to not say, do, or act or whatever with my husband. And because we both care about each other, we just don't. I don't talk to him any kind of way. And then, truth be told, once you learn your triggers and you learn the things and the depths and your whys, it will also prevent you from doing it to other people. I don't walk around here talking to people any kind of way unless they pull it out. If you get what you get with me. And I know why I'm like that. I identify and own my emotions and my feelings. So I know why I'm like that. And I know why I'll say, and I'll make no apologies for me as a person and being that way. But my husband does know that tone is very, very important to me. And we can talk about, if you want to know more about why, because I know my trigger. That goes down to the very depths of, I'm talking like my mid to early 20s, where I just kind of know why I'm very sensitive to the person I'm in a relationship to specifically. I'm sensitive to that as overall, but to the person that I'm specifically in a relationship with, I'm very, very sensitive to how they talk to me. And I know why. So, like I said, when you don't own it, you prevent others from being accountable. And listen, a lot of times people just simply don't know. People just simply don't know. I mean, I'm very sensitive to nicknames and things of that sort. Being a black woman, yes, I am a black woman. I get that joke all the time. Being high yellow. Anyway, I'm very sensitive about nicknames, and I don't like things like girly. I had a coworker who just constantly called me girly. Well, it took me to say to her, I don't like that. Don't call me girly. And why do you call me girly? What does that exactly mean? Well, you know what I think it means. And if you don't, then good for you. You don't have to know why that's offensive to a black woman. Just don't call a black woman girly. It just goes back to back in the day, Missy and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I didn't really like it. I was offended by it. And I said to her, I don't know why you keep calling me that, but I don't really like that. I didn't have to give her a detailed explanation, because a lot of times you really don't. I didn't have to give her my trigger of why I feel that way and the history of black women. And I didn't have to go into all of that, but I told her I don't like it. So come to find out, that's just something she calls everybody. For her, it was no different than girl, mama's, sweetie. That was just her thing. Hey, girl, that was one of her things. And now that I just kind of thought, I said, I understand it, but that kind of is a little bit of nail on chalkboard for me. So please just, when you can, just try to avoid it. So that's another thing. It opens up the conversation for you to understand where the person's coming from, and to realize that they're not really trying to be offensive or hurtful or disappointing or mean. Sometimes it's a culture thing. It's just how they were raised thing. But you can open that conversation, because you have to start expressing when things are bothering you and stop just bottling them inside. If you're not verbal, write them down. Write it down, erase it, write it down, type it, email it, however. And because email can come across as, the tone in email can sometimes that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, But the point is, you have to express when something is bothering you and affects you. You cannot keep repressing and taking it on, because people don't deserve to just walk around hurting and disappointing you and upsetting you. They just really don't. Who are they? You're a human being just like they are. I had another instance where I had a coworker call me. What did she call me? She was actually a manager. I don't know why. These are just the examples that I keep coming up with her right now. And I'm sorry if I sound out of breath because I caught myself doing some stretches. Anyway, before this video, the devil did not want this video. So this must be something. It's a gift to deliver somebody, because I'm telling you to make this video today. Whoo! Anyway, I had a manager. She would call me Toots. Oh my goodness. And if you watching, you know who you are, and any coworkers, ex-coworkers, because I don't work there anymore, they know who I'm talking about. We had a great dynamic in this office. Lots of little young 20-something-year-olds, 40-something-year-olds, whatever, just like myself. Anyway, and she was not good at the nicknames. I'm infamous for calling you mama, sweetie, baby girl, like, because especially if you're younger than me, I call my daughters that, and I look at all 20-something-year-olds as my kids. I just don't listen. If I could have gave birth to you, anyway. And I'm really getting off topic. But anyway, just as another example real quick. So she would constantly call me Toots. And I told her, and we had a great working relationship. So I felt comfortable to say to her, I just said, don't call me that. The first time she did, I said, just don't call me that. Why? What are you talking about? And I was like, just don't call me Toots. So anyway, she kept slipping up and doing it. So I went in her office one day and I closed the door. I said, I got to talk to you. You want to stop this, Toots. What are you talking about? I said, this is how, and this is what I mean about knowing it and owning it. I owned the fact that it irritated me. I owned the fact that it bothered me. It didn't hurt or disappoint or anger me, but it irritated the life out of me. And I knew my reasons. I associate certain things with, you're calling me like a little sass pot. Now, I understand that the majority of the working force there, and she was the manager, and she really shouldn't have been calling nobody anything. But anyway, but we had a pretty loose working atmosphere. Anyway. So to me, that was something that she should have been calling one of them. I'm a grown woman. Not that they're not grown women, but I'm on a whole nother level. I'm your generation. She was like 50 or so. So it was like, this is something I would call one of them or one of my nieces or something like that. I'm another woman on your same, don't call me Toots. Now, in the comments below, please feel free to tell me what you guys think Toots means. To me, it means little sass pot, little girl, chica, that kind of thing. I don't like it. So, reeling it back in, sorry, too late. That was just another example of, I'm real. I know my triggers. I know how I am. And I did give her suggestions on other things, and she was more than welcome to call me. She slipped up a couple more times, and I would just give her that look, and then but I had to keep checking her, not in a nasty way. Because like I just said, your emotions, just because you're owning them and you identify them and you're holding people accountable, does not mean that you have to be evil. You don't have to be evil. You don't have to walk around with a chip on your shoulder, because she didn't mean to be offensive to me. She didn't even really know. She just thought I was just being flip with her. Like, don't call me that, until I actually went in there, closed the door, and told her, listen, this is the issue. And the more that you own your emotions and you stop being apologetic for you as a person, you'll get more and more comfortable. That's another point. You'll learn yourself. You'll get more comfortable in being you and these feelings you have, and you won't make apologies for them. You'll let your children and your coworkers and your friends know in so many ways, and you'll hone your craft on how to exactly let people know, with me, I'm sorry, I don't like this, or I don't like that. And even when you're angry with something, take your time, count your numbers, 1, 2, 3, pull yourself away from the situation. Sometimes let them get it off at first, then revisit it. You know how many times we all as people will go back and think about a conversation or argument or something we had with somebody, and then we'll say to ourselves, you know what? I should have said, well, instead of what I should have said, find out, okay, that really angered me. Sometimes we know right now, oh, I know why it pissed me off. I know why I'm angry. Then go back and say, look, I don't appreciate when you said, or whatever the trigger was that ticked you off into being angry. Then you can address it with the person. Then you can say, and that's any relationship. That's any relationship. Second guessing does not mean that you can't take yourself and pause, leave the situation, let it happen, and then go back and revisit it. Especially if it's people in your life that care about you and that you care about and love, especially family members and close friends. Those are relationships that have been established and have bonds. And you should feel that you can trust that if you revisit something with a little bit of positivity and just trying to be understood, listen, let's talk about this, and let them have it. I mean, just let them know, listen, and then you don't have to always give the whole confessional, but if you feel comfortable enough to say, listen, back when, or whatever the case was, that, because sometimes, a lot of times, it's not even the situation that really angered or upset or whatever. It's a trigger. It's something deeper. It's because of something else. The reason why I'm very sensitive to how I'm spoken to, especially by the person I'm with, is because I was in a very verbal abusive relationship. And the funny thing about it is I've always prided myself on being a real strong woman, real strong person, individual. I have always been pretty outspoken. I mean, even in my teens and old and younger. And I didn't even realize I was in one. And I've always been real in tune with watch how you talk to me anyway, as many of us are. But I know that it crested over after this relationship. If you want to know about that relationship a little bit more, feel free in the comments to let me know. And I will definitely listen. This channel is all about being transparent. So, if I'm going to give advice and tell things and help uplift and comfort, and empower, trust me, I'm going to give you some of the stuff about me that has made me the woman I am today too. I don't mind sharing. So that's it, ladies. Stop second guessing yourself. Stop second guessing your feelings. Own it, cultivate it, learn it, identify all of it. And listen, don't make any apologies for you as a person, because people surely aren't apologizing for who they are. You don't need to apologize for who you are. Learn yourself so that you can actually bless the world even more with you as a person. Like I said, however it made you feel was how it was meant to make you feel. So, ladies, this channel is all about us, all about encouraging, and it doesn't always have to come from me. Please feel free in the comments to ask any questions, to help each other, to discuss, situations that took place with you where you actually wish you could have went back and said, that really bothered me. That really hurt me. That really disappointed me. Feel free. This is a safe place. All negative comments will be deleted off this channel, because this is not about bashing and hurting each other. It is exactly as the tagline says: comfort, uplift, and empower. If you have any other video ideas that you would like about any life issues that, we as women experience, and you just need another ear or what have you, feel free to comment below. Also, you can email me at lenaspearls4@gmail.com. I'll leave all of the information down below. Until next time, ladies, it was such a pleasure being here with you today. Thank you for sharing your time with me today, and take care until next time.